It's probably not the easiest to do them in onshore wind. It's probably easiest to do them in, I'd say, like a side shore or a side onshore wind, where you can go directly at the chop or at the wave and get a really good launching pad. But on this particular day, the wind's pretty much straight onshore. As you can see, I'm running straight along the waves. I've built up a lot of speed. I'm sheeting out the kite, and I'm sort of riding with the same technique as what I would be if I was tacking upwind. Now you can see my body position change. Right here, I'm lowering my center of gravity. My butt's almost touching the water. What I'm doing at this point is I'm edging as hard as I can against the kite to do two things. The first one is to bring the kite as far up into the wind window as possible, and also to really lower my center of gravity for takeoff. It's all about when you first leave the water. And the key is to, get good lift and punch out of your tail, but to make sure you point the bottom of your board directly into the wind before you start your actual rotation. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is your body's going to rotate, but you're going to leave your board behind. You can see here I've actually pushed really, really hard off my tail. You can tell by the amount of spray that's coming off just before I leave the water. It's also really important to make the grab as soon as possible, because throughout this turn it's impossible to keep your board pointed into the wind at all times, especially during the landing. Your board's going to actually spin right around, so if you don't grab it, the wind's going to blow it off your feet halfway through doing the back roll. Ultimately, you want to angle your board into the wind as long as possible. This is going to make it a lot easier in holding the grab and also holding the turn. Okay, at this point I've pretty much got the kite straight above my head, but I've stopped turning it. Throughout the back roll, you want to keep it above your head and ready to turn it back down as you come down. To get a really good clean rotation, you really need to be looking over the shoulder in the direction that you want to go and really focus on that. What can happen throughout doing a back roll like this is if you take your focus off the direction that you're heading, the rotation will stop mid-flight. Okay, as I go through the rotation, I'm just about back around. This is where you want to spot your landing. Okay, you'll notice that I'm holding the grab throughout the entire back roll to the point where I'm just about to land onto the water is where I'm going to let it go. You can see too, I extended my body out as much as I could just before I landed, and then as I landed I used my knees as shock absorbers, as you do with most aerials, especially in this situation where I'm landing on flat water again. You want to make sure that you are well centered over your board and your knees are ready to take that impact. So the key tips with doing an unstrapped back roll is make sure that when you launch out of the chop or out of the ramp, that you make the grab as fast as you can and that you turn your board into the wind. Also, when you rotate, you need to make sure that you're looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to go, or else it'll stop your rotation in mid-air. Apart from that, doing an unstrapped back roll just off chop is, like a really good way to learn how to control yourself in the air. It is going to lead, to much bigger and better aerials.